Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we are going to be doing another swatch of a full collection, one that I am super excited about. I say that about everything, but I just love nail polish that I am genuinely excited about everything. And this is Iscream nails. Love the name. If you've never checked out Iscream nails, check them out. They have so many amazing polishes. They are an Australian based brand, but I do believe that they also have a US supplier because, you know, typically it's like free shipping after a certain amount, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so this is the Holo Supreme 3 collection. So they have had two other Holo Supremes, and I have purchased, I think I have like half of Holo Supreme 1 and half of Holo Supreme 2. And then I saw the Holo Supreme 3 collection and I genuinely loved like almost every shade. There was like one or two that I was like, I'm not sure if I love those, but for me it was just worth it to get the entire collection. And each Holo Supreme has been a 10-piece collection. This one is no different. It's also a 10-piece collection. So I am super excited. Let's dive in. I'm going to show you those bottle shots and then we'll get started.
To be daring, baby, dance the night away. I let my head down if I won. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time? Doesn't sound like fun. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I want to be silly, baby, dance the night away. I'll kick my shoes off if I want. Let yourself be free and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty. Honey, let's just face it. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. You can.
So first up we have Life on Mars, and keep in mind I'm going to be using the Holo Taco Peely base coat on all of my swatching today, just so I can peel these off super easily. So most of these are going to be 2 coats. I think there's maybe like 1 or 2 where I end up doing a 3rd coat, but these are pretty opaque after 1 coat, but I do very thin coats for my first one, so I always end up doing a 2nd coat. So we have Life on Mars, which is like a beautiful, almost like a light orange linear holo, like a light orange, almost sort of like a coral colored. At least that's kind of how it comes across on camera. I'd say it is a smidge darker like in real life, but on camera it looks very kind of corally. I do like this shade. The only thing I would say is that I'm kind of on the fence about the name, because when I think of Mars, I think red, right? They call it the red planet, but I can also understand like how orange comes to mind. But just for me in particular, like Mars is like red, whereas this is very much more of like an orange color. So I suppose you just have to kind of say whether or not like that it matches for you. Like it's not that big of a deal. It's just sort of like an observation. But I really think this is a beautiful shade of orange coral red. I'm saying that because of how it appears on camera versus what it's like in real life. And I just think it's a really nice shade. And I think this could also bring like a spring shade as well. I think the interesting thing about this collection is you have some darker holos mixed with some lighter holos as well. But considering that this is the 3rd iteration of it, I think shades in this collection, just because there are 2 other full collections, so you do have different shades of orange throughout. That's what I meant. Okay, moving on. Next up we have Holo Cherry. Oh man, I love this color so much. I'm a sucker for a good red, and this is like a nice sort of like medium apple red, like a gala apple, not like a red delicious apple red. So I love this shade of red. I think it's a really nice shade, a really light shade, and I think the holo comes through in red really well as well. Really well too. That sounds better. Anyway, also when I think of this color, kind of like because of like how I swatched these, like this one is like I immediately think, oh, this should have been called Life on Mars, but like Holo Cherry fits too. But like because I swatched this one after Life on Mars, I was like, this one is more Mars to me than the other one. I'm not sure why I'm making a big deal out of it. Okay, moving along. Next up, we have Pink Diamond, and this is definitely one of my favorite of the collection. And no, it's not because my name is also in the name, but it's just because of my general love of pinks, and I just love how pink and holo goes together. This is kind of like a medium shade of pink, if you will. So I dig this shade of pink so well. I think like once you layer on the second coat, it is so holo and so gorgeous, and it's just so it's like one of my favorites of the collection. It's like in my top 3. Next up, we have Holo Deluxe. I like this shade so much. It's kind of like a warm berry, like blackberries. Maybe not blackberries this shade when you mash them up. I don't know, I don't eat blackberries. Not a good analogy. But this is sort of like a nice, it's still a red color, but it's like a Merlot-y, red winey kind of color, but not as fully dark as a Merlot. If that makes sense. I don't know. But it's sort of like a berry. Yeah, it looks like Merlot. Like when you put on the second coat, it definitely reminds me of Merlot. So it's a deeper shade of red purple, if you will, which I always say that holo works best over dark colors. And it kind of reminds me of a shade that I have from Picture Polish, which is called Cabaret. So that's what I'm kind of thinking of Cabaret. But like the holo has this beautiful sparkle. Like when I turn my hand to like different positions, it's almost like it's sparkling. It just looks so shiny and gorgeous. Next up, we have Sea Maiden. Now this one is a very light sort of periwinkle blue. Maybe periwinkle's not the right shade. This is just a very nice sort of light blue with low. Now I think this is the most interesting one of the collection to me, because when I look at the collection as a whole, it's the one that kind of stands out as maybe like not looking like it belongs in the collection, because it's super light in relation to the rest of the shades. Not saying that I don't like it, but like when you look at the collection as a whole, it is pretty bright considering all the rest of them are just a little bit on the darker spectrum. So I do like this color. I think it is really beautiful. What I've noticed with super light shades of Holo is usually that I do have to do more than one coat on them. I don't know why, it's just one of those things. So this one I did have to do 3 coats to get that fully opaqueness. But again, I think this one has like a really nice sparkle when you're looking at it with the light shade, which I like. And typically, like when it's super light shade of linear Holo, it doesn't always show up. So for me, I think it does show up really well in this, and I do like this shade a lot. I just think it's kind of interesting as a part of this collection. Next up, we have Holoday vibes. Loving that name. And I dig this color so much. So this is like a beautiful turquoise shade, which is the perfect way to describe this. It's like turquoise teal, and it's great that I put this like right after Sea Maiden, because I feel like these two kind of go together. I think this one does blend a little bit more with the collection, but like the two colors, this and this one are very this and Sea Maiden are very complementary for each other. I think this shade is absolutely stunningly gorgeous, and it's a really nice shade of like blue-green teal. I'd say it's more blue with like a small green undertone, but that would just be my guess. And this does remind me of a holiday, like a tropical vacation that I haven't been on in a long time. But I think it's a really beautiful shade. Next up, we have Keep Off the Grass. Now, when I saw this shade, this was definitely the shade that made me want to like buy the collection, because I saw this one and I just loved this shade. It's like a lemongrass green, so it's like a very sort of light green that has a lot of yellow undertones that just looks really beautiful together as a combination. And then, you know, taking into account it's a linear holo, it just sparkles. It looks so beautiful. And then of course the name coupled with it, originally I thought like Keep Off the Grass was from like a Honey I Shrunk the Kids movie, but then I looked it up and it's from The Princess Diaries, the first movie, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember it. Okay, so the scene is Mia's going to her grandmother's castle. I don't know, it looks like a very fancy house, you know, that's where rich people live, in castles. And instead of walking on the very unencumbered pathway that doesn't have any cars, she decides to just make a beeline across the grass. And then there's this loudspeaker that comes over and it's like, keep off the grass, and then it says it in like 5 or 6 other languages. So the scene is, I mean, it's not that hilarious in the movie, but it is kind of funny. So you can check it out like on YouTube, like the scene. You don't have to go watch the whole movie, but like every time I think about this shade and this name, that scene just keeps playing in my head, and it's very funny. So okay, we're gonna move on to the next one. Next up, we have Double the Holo, and we're getting into some really deep dark shades. Like the last 3 are super dark and so gorgeous, and this one is, when I'm looking at it on camera, it looks like an indigo shade, like it looks like it's blue and purple, but I think it's more a little bit blue in person, but I could be wrong. But it looks like kind of like an indigo color to me. It looks like a bit of blue, a little bit of purple, and a darker shade of both of those. So it's super dark and just really gorgeous, and the holo is just sparkling and shining through that. I just love this color so much. It's so beautiful. next up we have All About Holo, and I'd say this is kind of like a deep purple. Holo, I know it doesn't look super deep because of my thin coat for the first one, but once I put a second coat on, it does make it a lot of a deeper and darker color. I love purples, so this is a beautiful shade of purple on me. I'm kind of interested though, because the last few ones that I'm doing, they don't have any specific colors in the name. Like this one's just like All About Holo. I wonder like how does a company do the naming? I'm sure it's like a whole process. No, it's just interesting. But anyway, I think this is a really beautiful shade of purple. It's like a classic shade of like purple holo, if you will. Like if I had to place this anywhere, I'd say it's like almost between like a pastel and like what an OG purple would be. I think it's a little bit lighter than like OG purple would be. Like OG purple would probably be a little bit darker. But I think this is a really beautiful shade of purple. All right, last up, definitely not least, we have Holomania. Now, I feel like at first glance, this one looks a lot similar to All About Holo, especially since I'm swatching it right after. And I feel like it's kind of like maybe like a smidge lighter than All About Holo. It definitely strikes me as still being purple with maybe like a little silver in there. I'm not sure. I think it's interesting because this one doesn't all that much look different than All About Holo, so I think it's interesting to me because they look very similar. Maybe this one is a smidge lighter than that one. It could just be my mind playing tricks with me. I'm not sure. So I want to know what you guys think about the Holo Supreme 3 collection by Iscream Nails. Do you have any of these? Do you have any from the Holo Supreme 2 and 1 collections? I have a couple from each collection. And if you have a favorite from this one, let me know what your favorite is in the comments. I will put up full swatches of these on my Instagram too if you want to check that out. And if you like the video, just go ahead and give it a like as well. It really helps out the channel. I will also link a playlist with some of the other Iscream Nails videos that I've done. I think I might have done at least 1 or 2, so I'll link a playlist if you want to check that out as well. And if you're interested in seeing any more videos like that from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do have a lot of other videos planned. Of course, any brands that launch the collection that I get a chance to buy, I'll also swatch those too. But I am going to be trying really hard to film some other types of content like I always planned. Like I wanted to get into some movie and TV reviews and some makeup videos. So those are going to be some videos of my face. So those are coming too. So thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.